Laser sights can deter threats and aid in quick target identification, enhancing your ability to protect your family, home, and country. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free GunDealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
All right, back with you, Tom Gresham. It's Gun Talk. A lot of ways to follow us. Over on Twitter, I'm at Gun Talk. Look for Gun Talk Media on Facebook. Also, we are cranking out stuff on Instagram like crazy, and you definitely want to follow us there. We're putting out pictures. In fact, they're posting all the iguana pictures this week from Puerto Rico as our team is down there doing a gun venture show, shooting video for a gun venture show, hunting iguanas, of all things. Weirdest idea I've seen in a long time. But, man, looks like they have a lot of fun. Now, you know, of course, we've talked about this a fair amount. In fact, last week we talked about they just hit 1 year anniversary in Texas of concealed carry on campus. And, of course, once again, if they covered it at all, the media covers it and goes, well, unfortunately, nothing happened, because it really would play to their bias if it had been terrible. But it never is. And this has been going on for years and years as concealed carry on campus carry has spread. There's a group called Students for Concealed Carry. And talk about your uphill battle. They fight hard, and they are on pretty much in every state. Joining us right now is Luke Crawford. He's the Georgia State Director of Students for Concealed Carry. Luke, welcome to Gun Talk.
Hey, how's it going, Tom? Great to be on the show.
I appreciate it. So, first of all, explain to people, there's a different status in every state. Some states you can carry on campus, some states you can't. What's the status in Georgia right now?
So it actually just changed as of July 1st. We had a big victory this past year, and campus carry was passed here in Georgia. And so campus carry is legal in Georgia, but it still has quite a few restrictions. So those restrictions include things such as not being able to carry in dormitories, fraternity and sorority houses, sporting events, certain classrooms that contain dual-enrolled high school students. So, you know, we had a victory of campus carry being passed, but still quite a few restrictions there. But that'll kind of give you an idea of where we stand in Georgia right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, it sounds like it's a somewhat of a victory, but there are so many places you can't carry. For instance, if you live in a dormitory, you can't take you can't take your gun into your dormitory?
That is correct. And so, you know, we're definitely frustrated with those restrictions, but we're happy to make some progress, and you know, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be back working on those again next year because, like you said, there's so many places that they're limiting you that it's really quite frustrating. Because if you do live on campus in a dormitory, currently the only real option you would have would be to basically to be legal would be to leave your gun in your car and then go grab it out of your car to then carry, you know, to class and that sort of thing. Right. But the last thing we want is people leaving guns in cars because we all know how often those get broken into.
Yes, exactly right. Just what I was going to say. One of the things that's got to be frustrating for you, and you've been in this fight, is having the opponents to campus carry trot out the same old arguments that have been heard in all these other states where, well, we'll have this, and this, we'll have this, and this will happen. And you want to just say, why would you think that when you don't have to guess anymore? We have a track record. Look at these other states. When you're arguing that, do you get any traction when you say, look, you're supposing when all you have to do is ask what actually has happened?
Generally, the people that oppose campus carry don't pay a lot of attention to facts. that's something I've kind of run into in the anti-Second Amendment arena in general. It wasn't long ago here in Georgia that bar carry and church carry were passed. And, before that passed, basically the news and media and anti-gun people were all out and about saying, this is the end of the world. We're going to have all these mass shootings. Churches are going to get shot up. Drunk people are going to shoot up bars. And, none of that happened. And it's kind of the same thing with campus carry. You can point to states. I know right before I came on, you mentioned Texas, 1-year anniversary and no issues at all. And,
Right.
I can point to a state like Texas and say, we don't have to speculate because Texas has had campus carry and it's a non-issue. And so that's definitely something we like to point out, but we find that the vast majority of those that are anti-campus carry just don't really care, where there are a large majority of people that are just kind of unfamiliar with the idea of campus carry and, perhaps they don't own a gun, they don't really care one way or the other. And those are the people that, when I sit down with them and we actually take a look at the facts and, take a look and see that campus carry is not having any adverse effects on college campuses, then those are generally the people that, kind of say, oh, wow, I didn't realize this. I'm okay with campus carry now.
All right, Luke, one of the things that I find is that in every write-up and every time the media wants to marginalize this, they talk about students carrying. This is a bill to let students carry, and it's really not. It's when you introduce these, it's a bill to let people who are licensed to carry whether they're students or not.
Exactly. That's one of the other kind of common arguments is that students are going to go kill their teachers if they get a bad grade. And for one, that hasn't happened anywhere that campus carry has been legal. But in addition to that, this bill allows professors to carry. And as of right now, in a lot of states, if a student did want to harm a professor over a bad grade, they have no way to defend themselves. So this bill not only gives students back their right to defend themselves, but also faculty, staff, teachers, administration, and all of those people that want that right to carry on campus.
Well, and it's one of those deals you almost hate to talk about it, but the very idea that the current ban on it would prohibit somebody who wants to go crazy from going in and shooting people is ludicrous on the face of it. I mean, somebody who, and we've said this before, obviously, somebody who wants to commit murder is not going to be dissuaded by a law that says, hey, you can't carry your gun in this building. That's just nuts.
Exactly. One of the things I always like to point out is, a criminal by definition is someone that breaks laws. And so if a criminal by definition breaks laws, what makes us think that suddenly they're going to pay attention to this specific law about not being able to have a gun on campus when, they don't follow laws in the first place?
Where's the major pushback coming from on this?
I would say, so our Board of Regents, which is basically they're kind of the governing body for public schools, public colleges here in Georgia. They've been very adamant against this since the start. And we've seen the amount of pushback from students has been minimal. Honestly, I feel like we've seen a lot more support from students than we have pushback. And then obviously we've seen a lot of pushback from groups like Moms Demand Action.
Oh, sure. The gun ban groups, the gun ban industry
they've always
pushes
been involved.
it. Of course.
Exactly.
So is there a way to reach the Board of Regents? Are they elected? Are they selected? How does that work?
So they're appointed officials, and we reach out to them and send them emails and that kind of thing, and have published their contact information time and time again. But the truth of the matter is that they have pushback, but what really matters are our legislators, and so that's really who we focused on because the Board of Regents has pushed back, but campus carry still got legalized, and they really can't do anything about it. And so that's really where we've concentrated our time is when it comes to our local elected officials and also our governor. We've had kind of a mixture of support. from Governor Nathan Deal over the past few years. He did veto the bill last year, and so he's been kind of mixed support. But our Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle, who actually is running for governor in this next election, has so far been pretty supportive of us. So I'm excited to see that, because the more elected officials we can put into place that support our Second Amendment rights, the better.
Well, of course, this is we're focusing on Georgia, but this is the battle that's being waged in many, many states. And what you're going through there is what's going on in a lot of states. And Luke, I appreciate you spending a little time with us today. It's people who want to get involved can go to the concealedcampus.org and see what's going on and jump in and get involved, because I think this is an important part of the Second Amendment battle.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Luke Crawford from Georgia State Director for Students for Concealed Carry. Check it out, concealedcampus.org. When we come back, is it true that gun sales are in the tank? Is it true that the gun business is simply going out of business and there won't be any? Oh, yeah, I know. We'll talk about that when we come back.
The holster that changes shape with your lifestyle is finally here. Alien Gear Holsters proudly presents the revolutionary Shapeshift modular holster system. The Shapeshift Starter Kit is a base package containing one holster that can easily switch between four of the most popular carry positions, including IWB, OWB, appendix, and paddle, depending on your preference or activity. Find more information, including future carry options like shoulder and drop thigh, at aliengearholsters.com.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water, but perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
Legends aren't born legendary. They are proven legendary. Like the new FN 509 handgun, a direct result of over 1 million rounds of testing and a direct descendant of over 125 years of legendary FN firearms. The world's most battle-proven firearms. The FN 509, a legend in the making. Find out more at fnamerica.com.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
Nosler has been a leader in bullets and ammunition for decades and keeps growing with new product introductions that follow this tradition. Accurate, highly effective bullets and ammo for long-range shooting, precision rifle competition, and big game hunting. To be the first to hear about new product releases and promotions, follow Nosler on Facebook and Instagram and become part of the conversation. You won't settle, and neither will we. Nosler.com.
All right, back with you here. Yeah, Jim, give me another call, see if we can round him up there. Let's see. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. I'm looking at this story in CNN Money. Dick's Sporting Goods stock plunged Tuesday after the retailer missed expectations and lowered its earnings forecast. What's interesting about this is the headline, or the title of this, is Dick's stock plunges on poor gun and sports sales. Okay, so what they're saying is that the problem with Dick's Sporting Goods is that gun sales are down, and that, they didn't make their earnings or their forecast or whatever, and, their stock crashed and all of that. Okay, great. Except, there's a couple of things here. One, I just don't care about Dick's. They're the ones that threw us under the bus. After the Newtown shooting, they went and pulled all the ARs off the shelves, said, basically, we're not going to have those kind of guns here. Really? Rifles, hunting rifles, self-defense rifles, competition rifles. You're not going to have those kind of guns in there? If you're willing to throw us under the bus for that, I haven't set foot in one since then. I just haven't. So when Dick's went out of their way to throw us under the bus and pull those guns off the shelves, I don't care about them anymore. But the point is, the story here is saying that their stock is going down because of gun sales down. And then you see all these stories about, Trump is bad for gun sales, yada, yada, yada. Well, joining me right now to talk about this and a lot of other things, Jim Shepard from the Outdoor Wire, the Shooting Wire, the Tactical Wire, and every other wire you can create. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Tom. How are you?
I'm good. Talking about this concept, this meme that's going out there, theme from the media of, Trump is terrible for gun sales and gun sales are down and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm looking at some Nick's background check information for the last 18 years, and I've just picked July, the latest numbers here. They have gone up, and look, every single year except this year over the year before, because 2016 was an anomaly, but already 2017 is over 2015. So, if you take out 2016, the nutty year, sales just keep going up, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've done a little bit about this, and I call it the new normal. And the problem is most of the people who are experts in this field anymore don't have 8+ years of background. They don't remember what it was like not to be under the fear of something being outlawed and being taken away from us. Listen, there are plenty of new shooters coming in. There are lots of new people coming into the sport. Sales are fine. Companies are not suffering. The companies that are AR only have seen some softening. Yes, they have. But a lot of people, because they don't have the background to understand what it was like in the pre-Obama years, don't understand that we're still doing very, very well. It's not an industry that's struggling. It's not like people are being laid off. People are not closing. There's actually time to take machines down for maintenance. There's time to do all the things that they haven't been able to do because they were running 24/7, 365 to try to keep up with the fear demand.
Sure, and there have been a few companies that have laid people off with the idea that we're going to get you back. But one of the things that happened is, unfortunately, they couldn't help themselves, and a lot of them geared up, even though they knew it was this crazy bubble. They geared up for last year's sales, and then, when, surprise, surprise, Hillary didn't get elected and Trump get in, people said, okay, I don't have to buy my emergency stash them under the bed guns. So some of those folks...
I can go on vacation this summer.
Yeah, really.
I don't have to spend my money on ammo and burying things in the yard. There is nothing in the world wrong with people not being afraid.
Exactly. And of course, the trend keeps going up. As I say, if you just look at 2013, 14, 15, and 17, every year the sales go up. This year going up again substantially over 2015. So the trend line keeps going up and up. We just had this weird, huge spike in 2016. And the short-term folks, as you say, are just looking at that and going, oh, the sky is falling. Well, to be fair, and you've worked the Wall Street area, you've got stock analysts that don't know a thing. And if you come 1 cent lower than the projection, they downgrade your stock.
Absolutely, because their long-term planning is next quarter.
Yes, that's all they can see.
That's all they're worried about. Right. Well, look at Ruger. And I like to use Ruger as an example because I listen to their stock calls and they're always fun. They did not do as well as they did at the same period last year. Okay, they made money. They paid a dividend. They bought back stock with money they had, free cash. That's not failing. It's just not exceeding to the record they expect. It's like all these people that are yelling, the sport of track is over because Usain Bolt pulled a muscle in the last race. Track will continue. They just are hurting for a superstar.
Right.
And,
okay, so
it's almost like saying, well, World War II's over. We're never going to sell any more seeds because nobody needs a victory garden. Oh, please, come on.
Okay, so what that means for the average consumer, and you track this very well, is that right now, and I've said this several times, as we're speaking right now in August of 2017, I would submit there has never been a better time to buy guns or ammo in terms of prices and deals and specials. What do you think?
Yes. I can't. I'll give you the one-word answer, which is a journalistic letter cut, but absolutely it's a great time. There's never been a better selection. There are prices out there right now to be had. There are incentives out there to be had, and there are magazines with the guns to be had, and that's always the hard part. You know, what people have kind of glossed over the last year or so is, you could get a gun, but it was the devil to get a magazine for them, extra magazines. They couldn't make them fast enough.
Yeah.
And
that's
now
true.
Everybody's got magazines. You know, you buy a gun, you can get 4 magazines.
Yeah, it was funny.
My goodness, that's all you need.
You'd ask them, say, well, why can't we get magazines? It's because everyone we make goes into a box with a gun.
Yeah, 1 or 2 or 3 of them go in that box and go out the door.
Yeah, no, exactly right. It's you're right. Now we have access. Ammo prices are down. Gun prices are down. We got specials going on out there, and new guns coming out all the time. Tell you what, Jim, hold on a second. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I do want to talk about the new guns that are coming out because it just seems like every week there's an announcement of somebody bringing out a new one. We used to have to wait till SHOT Show, and that's not the case anymore. By the way, if you want to check out at least some of the things that Jim does, go to it's theoutdoorwire.com, or you can go to Shooting Wire, and I would highly suggest that you subscribe. It's free to the Shooting Wire and the Tactical Wire and the Outdoor Wire, and that way you can find out not only what's going on in the industry, but special things that are going on and kind of news items. And it's either daily or 3 times a week or occasionally. It's sometimes I wonder if it's not when Jim just decides. No, it's not true. All right. Tom Gresham here. This is Gun Talk. We'll be right back.
Gun Talk encourages you to support the local sporting goods store, gun stores, ATV dealers, and other local businesses in your area who advertise on this station and Gun Talk. Only together can we protect our rights. You're listening to Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
All right, change of plans. I got Jim Shepard on here from the Outdoor Wire, Shooting Wire, Tactical Wire, Fishing Wire, everybody else's wire. And I mentioned that we might talk about what's new, but that's a waste. It's a waste of Jim's background and experience. Jim, you were one of the very, very first employees at CNN. You were there to help Ted Turner start it. You've been a journalist all your life. As you look at, and I just want to talk about kind of the state of journalism, and there was a time, and I know I sound like an old fogey because I'm an old fogey, there was a time when journalists really did believe that accuracy was everything and getting it right was the calling. How far have we strayed from that?
As far as the East is from the West, it is all as bollocksed up, which is as nicely as I can say it in British, as it's possible to imagine. It is as far from journalism as it's possible to get. At this
what
point.
happened?
It's
how
embarrassing.
How did we get here?
Money.
What do you mean?
The bean counters took over. The inmates run the asylum, and everybody's concerned about how much money they can make. The journalists are concerned about building their own personal brands, and they've lost their integrity. It used to be that if you did the right thing and you reported accurately, you didn't have to worry about your brand and you didn't have to worry about your integrity. And now to go out and provoke the President of the United States so that he will attack you, so you can go on everybody else's TV show and give your opinion of what the president is doing. That's not journalism, and that's not what CNN was built upon. We built that network with a very, very simple guideline. The only star at CNN will be the news. And, that's not the case anymore.
No,
they don't even report the news anymore. They tell you what they think about what the news ought to be.
Well, I
don't
hear
need
them.
you to interpret it for me.
Their questions are not questions. They are telling a question. It's like a 3 or 4 sentence preamble. And the truth of it is, what the answer is actually doesn't matter at all, does it?
No, it doesn't. What they've done is they now ask questions exactly like politicians answer them. They say what they want to say and then put a question mark at the end of it. And a politician, as you know, you've interviewed enough of them, answers the question he wanted you to ask.
Exactly. What you ask means nothing.
The question you asked him. No, it doesn't mean anything. That's when you stop, that's his chance to speak. And he'll say, that's a good point, however, and bang, away they go. And,
right, it's the bump and run.
It's hard to say how long ago it happened or when it started, but it started.
I'll tell you what I think. How about this? I think it started with Watergate, when all of a sudden you had 2 reporters became stars.
I wouldn't argue that Woodward and Bernstein probably did the biggest disservice to journalism imaginable. And by doing good journalism, they did a good job.
Yeah.
They did a great job. And there were 2 mediocre reporters who tumbled on a great story. And if you look at it now, who knows them for anything else?
Right. And then everybody wanted to go to J school.
They ever broke.
Yeah, everybody wanted to go to journalism school. Everybody wanted to become a Woodward and Bernstein. Everybody wanted to be a star. And then when you have news people, supposedly news people, and each of them has their own PR firm representing them and managing their brand, we just got celebrities. Well, and the problem is, to bring it back home to us, that makes it difficult to get our side or our information out, because the information doesn't matter, the truth doesn't matter, the logic, the stats don't matter. It's just, can I gin up enough interest and enough angst to carry viewers through the quarter hour, and that's all that matters.
That's pretty much the way it works, and it's a sad state of things. And we used to take pride in not having the same lead story as ABC, CBS, and NBC, because we said, and now here's maybe where we started to tumble down the rabbit hole. The lead story is the story we think is the most important to the most people, which meant we very seldom led with a Washington story, unless it was a wallet story. Well, the Washington people were incensed at us because we didn't start with a Washington story. It used to be nearly every night the network started with something from Washington.
Right.
Well, Washington is where things should wind up, not where they should begin. And that was always our opinion, and we tried to go that way with it. We tried to talk about the things where the rubber met the road, the things that affected the people who lived in flyover country. Well, guess what? We're back into flyover country again, and nobody cares.
Is there a way?
In Washington, no one cares. And in New York, no one cares. And in Los Angeles, no one cares. What they don't realize is in Los Angeles, in Washington, and Chicago, in L.A., none of the rest of us care what they think.
Well, and also, we're at the point, we're past the point now. I don't know what you do about it. I think we're past the point where you can embarrass these news talkers, repeaters, by saying you're no longer a journalist, blah, blah, blah. They don't care. They don't even pretend to be journalists anymore. No,
they do not. And they could care less what you think, because you're talking about me, and that's what's important.
They're getting what they want if you're talking about them. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, you know.
All right. Well,
who I am.
If somebody wants to know about some real journalism in the outdoors and people who really cover it, I think you do an excellent job with the wires. I would recommend that. Is it best to go to The Outdoor Wire? Is that a good place to start, people?
Yep. If you start at theoutdoorwire.com, you can go there and sign up for it and find out about everything else. And, we've doubled our subscription price this year, coming up on 19 years, which is still double nothing.
And twice zero.
A bargain at twice the price.
That's right. All right. Well, it's a wonderful service, and I, like a lot of other people, start my day every day by reading the wires. Jim Shepard, thank you for what you do, and thank you for being my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
All right. You take care. All right. We'll be back in just a minute. I tell you what, there's so much going on. When we come back, I want to talk to a true hero, somebody who actually stopped an active shooter with a handgun, rifle handgun. You won't believe it. We'll be right back.
The Black Hills. There's nothing like it on Earth. The kind of place where characters become legends. Wild Bill Hickok, Crazy Horse, Calamity Jane. Pick any part of the world and you'll find people go there to make it their own. But this is where people come to get made. This is the place that made the people who make the best ammo on Earth. Black Hills Ammunition.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
Slim, concealable, and now in .45 auto. The Smith & Wesson M&P Shield pistol gives you all-day comfort and confidence. Its reliable performance and easy operation make the lightweight, striker-fired M&P 45 Shield pistol the perfect choice for personal protection. Power and performance you need from the brand you trust. The M&P 45 Shield pistol from Smith & Wesson. Go to smith-wesson.com. That's smith-wesson.com.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime. Setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at timneytriggers.com.
All righty, back with you, Tom Gresham. I tell you what, in just a little bit later on, we're going to be talking to a fascinating man, wrote a fascinating book. There are not many chances you get to hear from somebody who stopped mass murder, but he did. We'll absolutely be talking about that. In the meantime, we have questions. This one comes in from Tori. It says, all right, Tom and Michelle, I have spoken with you folks a couple of times, and just to help remind you, I'm the nut shooting full house 357 in my J-frame. Yes, that would qualify as being a nut. One cylinder full, sure, and then recover, but steady diet of it, no, thank you. He says, I took my wife to the Firearms Academy of Seattle, and I think it says she outshot the gent, or no, he said, and he outshot the gent next to me who was shooting a 327. So to my point, I love my revolvers, but one has a 6-inch barrel, a model 19-5. The other is the J-frame, a 640-1. Neither is a true carry gun in terms of capacity. Yeah, okay, that's a discussion we could have another time. He says, I have small hands. The J-frame fits perfectly. My dilemma is the 9mm autos I like. Carr and Springfield EMP don't have much greater capacities than my revolvers. Well, if you have a 5-shot revolver and you have a 9 or 10-shot EMP, I would submit that you probably are close to doubling your capacity. But he says, I've tried the Smith & Wesson Shield and my wife's Glock 17. Said, but the grips are kind of big. Excuse me. Said he wants to check out the Ruger LC9, but his store doesn't have one. So what you got to do is basically say, looking for suggestions. You want a small gun with high capacity, don't we all? I would look at maybe smaller guns that are double stack. Let's see, the Springfield XDM, Smith & Wesson, the M&P compact, all the other compacts out there. Pardon me. So I think what you're looking for is a compact or a mid-size with a double stack. I mean, I think that's going to be the best way to go. I wish you luck with it. Hey, let me welcome to the show now Matt Fisher from Blaser, joining us, Blaser USA. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Doing good, sir. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. A lot of folks don't know Blaser. It's a major gun maker in Europe. I mean, when you go around Europe when you're hunting or shooting competition, they know the name Blaser. If you're a sporting clays competition shooter, you may know Blaser because you guys make a really beautiful high-end over and under, but yes, you're kind of dipping into some new waters on the over and under front, aren't you?
Yes, sir, we are. We're starting to penetrate a different market. We have always been on the higher end, upper price range kind of thing when it comes to the competition guns.
Right.
But this past year, we came out with one that's a little bit more of the introductory price point. Just trying to get in the gun, into the hands of more people.
Sure.
A different kind of person. And so it's going great. We're having a bunch of good feedback, and everybody seems to be enjoying the gun so far.
It's called the F16. Where'd that name come from?
Just kind of following the trend. 2016 was the year the gun was, manufactured.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like something coming out of the jet fighter, the F-16, but
no,
evidently not.
You're not the first person to come with that conclusion, but no, there's
I'm
no
sure.
reason.
Now, these are all made in Germany?
Yes, sir. Every product that we make is made in Isny, Germany. It's right on the southern border.
I have been to Isny. I've been through the plant. I've seen them being made right there. It is a most impressive factory, I got to tell you, not to mention the fact that it's just a beautiful area. But the main thing is these are, trying to figure out exactly how to put it, these guns are stout. They are made, not stout as in heavy or beefy, but they're strong. They're made for competition, right?
Oh, I mean, it is. If you've been to the German plant, then you know the whole the phrase "the German efficiency" truly lives up to its name there.
Mm-hmm.
But we pride ourselves on not only making a good product, but a perfect product when it comes to the mechanics of it. And so the metal that's used, the wood, the machine work that goes into it is all so flawless, and the tolerances are so small that very rarely do we have an issue. It's just great. It's almost artwork how well they are made.
I like it. That's a good way to put it. It's almost artwork when you have a really fine over and under. By the way, I would also offer, people ought to go to your website, Blaser. It's Blaser. Everybody says Blazer, but Blaser-USA.com to see the most amazing video. You guys have the best video of clay targets being shot and broken that I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah, that was a good production. Yeah, we're proud of that one.
Smoke. I bet when you can see the pellet cloud flying through the air and impacting clay targets, that alone is worth the effort to go watch it.
Sure. Yeah, it's very neat.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
Neat.
The Blaser, the F-16, and it comes in both competition and hunting or sporting versions. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've got two different configurations for it. It's called we have the F-16 Sporting, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of designed for that clay target shooter, and you can get it in 30 or 32-inch barrels. There's a weight balancing system in the barrels, and so you can quite literally balance the gun in between your hands.
Right.
And then we have the Game, which is just a little bit lighter. It doesn't come with the barrel balancing system. It comes in 28-inch or 30-inch barrels, and so it's just more designed for the guy that's going to be walking around hunting birds or
perfect. Perfect. Matt, look, I appreciate it. I want to direct people to the website. It's Blaser, Blaser-USA.com. Check it out. The F-16 is really a modern 21st century over and under. Appreciate that. Wow. And this one comes out of Conroe, Texas, just outside Houston. Oh, man. I don't know. Conroe's chief of police was asked to leave an ear, nose, and throat specialist office in the Woodlands because he was carrying his firearm. Chief Philip Dupis, I don't know how you pronounce that. The chief said, told the Courier, this is the Courier of Montgomery County, he was wearing his badge on his belt in plain view next to his handgun, as well as his Conroe PD identification on a lanyard around his neck when he entered the doctor's office. Said that the receptionist took his driver's license card and then asked him about the gun on his hip. And he says, she asked him to take his gun out to his car. Yeah. The 35-year law enforcement veteran, who had never had an accidental discharge, it says, refused to disarm himself, reiterating that he is a police officer. That's when he was asked to leave. The chief said, it's just bad. He says, my badge is clearly displayed. I have my lanyard with police on my ID hanging around my neck. I had handcuffs. The lobby was full of people, and they asked me to leave because of who I am. Lord. So, by the way, it says in Texas law, a licensed police officer, he can legally carry anywhere in the state. However, he's not there on official business, and under the law, somebody who has a business can ask you to leave. So he did. Now, the follow-up is that the office manager contacted the chief to apologize after this thing went into the media. And the chief said, well, that's great, but I'm going to be looking for another doctor's office anyway. So, surely it was a mistake, but really, I mean, are we just hiring the dumbest people in the world who would? Although, you've got these places now that say we don't serve cops. That was the latest, this donut place or someplace said, yeah, we don't serve cops. Wow. On the subject of where you can carry, where you can't, Dan writes in, says your commentary on guns and banks got me to thinking of the time I was at the bank inside a grocery store. I was cashing a check and the young teller asked for some ID. I showed him my carry permit. His eyes got as big as saucers and he exclaimed, "You're not carrying a gun, are you?" He says, I replied, "That's none of your business." He said, "You can't carry a gun in a bank." To which I responded, okay, obviously Dan is a smart aleck. I like it. He says, well, if you can't carry a gun in a bank, he says, how do you expect someone to hold up a bank? Do you think you should bring in a bomb or a picture of a gun or on the hold-up note? Said the guy mumbles something about, says, good point. Says he gave me my money. For those of you who don't know, occasionally people will say you can't carry in a bank. If there's no state law about it, and they'll say, what's a federal law? No, it's not. The bank may be federally insured, but it's not a federal building. Unless it's in a federal building, it's just another business like any other business. Now, you have to check, and if you have your carry permit, you should know what the rules are, where you can and cannot carry. If you're in a constitutional carry state, you still need to know where you can and can't carry. But banks, no. Under federal law, there's nothing that prohibits you from carrying in a bank. And if I go to the bank, I'm always wearing pants. And when I'm wearing pants, I'm generally carrying a gun. It's a pretty simple deal. So just know the rules. And also, you know what? Why provoke the encounter? I don't use my carry permit as an ID. Yeah, people say, oh, I do that. Yeah, no. I'm not going to provoke it. That's part of being the gray man. Stay invisible. Don't let people know that you're carrying or that you are somebody who has a permit. It's none of their business and no good can come from it. When we come back, I want to talk with the author of a new book. This guy stopped a mass shooting with an amazing shot, but maybe the real information is what happened afterward and the recovery process.